wrestler who I actually found in the newspapers. He was quite the stud, you know. So this guy got crossways with both of those guys in this song. And I've got like 6 parodies on the West Virginia state song, my home state. And wouldn't you know it, they all have to do with moonshines one way or another. Here we go. I came to this land with a gun in my hand to live where there's nothing to fear. In old Teton Basin, I choose to remain and make a beginning from here. To the east are the Teton Peaks, stealing my heart from me. Catching the sun on the snowy peaks and turning the white to gray. Tetons, Alps of the West, you are the best. I take my rest in your presence. Mountains so high, Rocky Mountains and Teton Peaks. I wrestled Mike Yokel one day on the mat. He put a full Nelson on me. He says you are strong, but you don't belong with an old Teton wrestler like me. To the east are the Teton Peaks, stealing my heart from me. Catching the sun on their snowy peaks and turning the white to gray. Oh, Tetons, Alps of the West, you are the best. I take my rest in your presence. Mountains so high, Rocky Mountains and Teton Peaks. Here comes President Driggs. President Driggs called me in when he found me in sin. He said, this can never be. Well, you will straighten out if you stay here about. This is the end of your spree. To the east lie the Teton Peaks, turning my heart from me. Catching the sun on the snowy peaks and turning the white to gray. Tetons, Alps of the West, you are the best. I take my rest in your presence. Mountains so high, Rocky Mountains and Teton Peaks. Thank you. Next slide, I guess. Or is that up to me? How did you fix that so soon, buddy? We're going to go up to Thunder Mountain. And one of my favorite Idaho personalities was a guy called the Poet Prospector, Clarence Eddy. Poet Prospector of Idaho and Death Valley. This guy was amazing. He published 5 books of poetry. He was probably one of these guys who was on the edge of insanity and brilliance, and he kind of wobbled back and forth across the line many times. And I'm going to do a couple songs by him he published in his 1902 book called The Pinnacle of Parnassus. And Thunder Mountain, Weiser was one of the many gateways to Thunder Mountain. All these towns swore it was the best way to get to Thunder Mountain, but no matter how you did it, you had at least 60 miles of pack trails to get in there. And the snow didn't disappear until May or June, and it came in October, so it was tough going. Clarence Eddy found this song that was performed in British stage shows in about 1900. And it was a show that was written to raise money for Boer War orphans. So you can imagine it had this really stiff British martial touch to it. Clarence Eddy made a total travesty of this song by singing about mules braying and dynamite blasting and drunken miners and all that. So it goes like this. I'm a-gone to Thunder Mountain where the golden nuggets grow. The miners' big procession gets a swing. I'm a-gone to Thunder Mountain where the balmy breezes blow. The snow's a winter rapture in the spring. With a burro and some bacon and a shovel and a pick, I'm gonna hit the Thunder Mountain Trail. On Mule or Monumental or Holy Terror Creek, I'm gonna make a fortune without fail. How the camp will be a-hummin', the hands imbibing booze, the blast will be a-booming in the air. And how the mules will bray when they hear the joyful news that the boys are finding nuggets everywhere. Yeah, right. Well, you bet there'll be a hot time on Holy Terror Creek when so many mules and miners get up there. And the mules will stand the racket and they'll make a mighty kick if things ain't conducted on the square. Beer and some bacon and a shovel and a pick, I'm gonna hit the Thunder Mountain Trail. On Mule or Monumental or Holy Terror Creek, I'm gonna make a fortune without fail. How the camp will be hummin', the hands imbibing booze, till the hills of Holy Terror fairly ring. And yes, I have been reading the Thunder Mountain news, and I'm gone to Thunder Mountain in the spring. But of course, that's not the way it really was. So he wrote a couple extra verses. It's kind of like Stephen Goodman having written the greatest country music song of all time, and then he got corrected. So here's the real story about Thunder Mountain. I have been to Thunder Mountain, and I'm busted flat by Jing. On mining matters, I have changed my mind. I did my very darndest, but I didn't strike a thing. My pantaloons are wearing out behind. From my present way of seeing, I surely was a fool. My blindness I beweep and I bewail. For I should have caught the idea when that kind-intentioned mule kicked me clearly off the Thunder Mountain Trail. I'm a-gone to cutting firewood or ranching once again, or herding sheep or any other things. I sort of got my senses and I see I was insane when I had the mining fever in the spring. Now that's the truth. Thank you. So, how about a little poem from Clarence Eddy? This guy was around burros and mules a lot, and old-time prospectors a lot, so no wonder he was a little bit nutty himself. And who else would go out of the way to pick the two most dreadful places in North America, in the lower 48 states, to prospect? Loon Creek in the middle of the Salmon Wilderness and Death Valley. So here's this song, and I think he was writing about, I think the burro is a metaphor for politicians in this, or maybe obnoxious neighbors. It's called The Burro's Bray. I heard a sound that shook the ground, and I rose from slumber in a fright. And then I found what made the sound, a jackass braying in the night. When first I caught the sound, I thought, farewell to my youthful bloom. Skidoo for me in 23, it's the awakening crack of doom. But soon I found what made the sound and soon recovered from my fright. For soon the way jackasses bray bring their identity to light. Bon boy. So you think he might have been talking about more than mules here? Be slow to fear the thing you hear and slower still to flight. Just wait and see. That thing may be a jackass braying in the night. So, I'm doing some Clarence Eddy things, so I just sent off to the printer a 280-page book manuscript on Clarence Eddy. Been working on this project for 17 years. I love this guy. And November of 1918, November 1918, the armistice was signed, ceasing hostilities for World War I. And America was in the throes of the Spanish flu pandemic. And actually, most people don't know this, but there are more people killed by the Spanish flu than were killed in World War II from hostilities. So there was always been this thing between Challis and Mackay in Custer County, this fight for supremacy. Each wanted to be the capital of or the county seat of Custer County, and Mackay always wound up on I think, according to Clarence Eddy, they were kind of a lower life compared to the Challis people, in the Challis people's view. So the Challis city father decided, well, we're just going to put up a roadblock and keep people from Mackay coming into town and killing us with the Spanish flu. It was patently illegal. It went to the Idaho Supreme Court, and they declared it was illegal, but not before a Mackay or a Challis judge said, yea, verily, this is a good thing. So it was a great big mess. And it looked like Clarence Eddy got caught up in this thing when he was driving through in his Ford, which in this song and other of his writings apparently was a little bit lower category of vehicle than an automobile. So Clarence could only afford to buy a Ford, not a real car. So here we go on the Battle of the Flu. On the 14th of November in 1918, it was then and there enacted that most memorable scene. 100 men from Charlestown, gallows brave and true, along the highway hurried to the Battle of the Flu. Marching along 100 strong, a brave and gallant crew, with blood in their eyes, the do or die at the Battle of the Flu. Oh, the forces of the enemy, they were counted by the score, advancing at a distance of 60 miles or more, coming near, ever near, throughout that dreadful day. But the closest that they ever got was 60 miles away. 60 is the distance between those two towns. And rumor after rumor of their coming grew and grew, until some other rumor grew. That rumor was untrue. Oh, we heard that they were coming by auto and by Ford, with all the guns and bootleg that they could crowd aboard. They were mad as blazes. They vowed that they would shoot as the quickest way to settle the question in dispute. And many a hero trembled, he shivered in his boots, as he vividly remembered the dreadful Mackay booze. Oh, they swore that it was poison, it would kill at 90 yards, and so the captain shouted out to double up the guard. There is an auto coming, an excited lookout roared, but when the thing approached, well, it was just a Ford. Captain then commanded, right about and shoulder arms. He gave a solemn warning to beware of false alarms. I love this next verse too. There were generals by the slew, and colonels there were many. Captains there were quite a few, but privates there weren't any. And there were deeds of daring performed upon that day, even though the enemy was 60 miles away. And when the day was darkest, up spoke a small new Skinner. He said, boys, I'm not afraid to die, but I hate to miss my dinner. And though nobody died, they say, at least no one was buried. The devil himself might be to pay if Mackay had not tarried. They said that they were coming, and hell would be to pay. But they were spies that kept them wise, and so they stayed away. But we're peace-loving people, and the world is now at peace. Was Mackay right to force that fight? Well, yes, in a pig's valise. Oh, my. So I've collected, and I perform upwards of a couple hundred early Idaho songs, and these are just some of the ones that I thought had some degree of humor in them. And I've never done a program of just to see if other people think they're as funny as I do. So this is a friendly audience, so what the heck. Tracy's going to steal the show here anyway, so let's go down to the Weiser Mountains now. And this song is a little bit out of my 1924 and earlier time frame. This is from the 1930s, and there was a Basco cowboy down there named Bud Baltazar, and he was famous for his ability to catch wild horses. And so he took a popular song of the day called Dig Me a Grave in Missouri and kind of said his own words to it. And it goes like this. Oh, dig me a grave in the old Wise, out where a tired man can rest. Well, bury my saddle beside me, with a corn liquor jug on my chest. Hide me away in the old Wise, and don't put a stone at my head. Just plant me where my wife can't find me, and I'll have some peace when I'm dead. I'll take my saddle Mustang and I'll drink from a jug when I'm dry. Oh, dig me a grave in the old Wise, don't throw me in till I die. Player Slim. Oh, bury me out in the old Wise, where wild horses walk over me. Their echo and tread pass over my head. I'm a Mustanger from the old Wise, where the wild Mustangs prowl and the coyotes howl. Birds will make music for me, where the long shadows fall and the turtle does call. I'll rest there forever in peace. I'll take my saddle Mustang and drink from a jug when I'm dry. Oh, dig me a grave in the old Wise, don't throw me in till I die. Oh, dig me a grave in the old Wise, don't throw me in till I die. All right. Well, let's stay down in the Waihes. Anybody ever make a bad investment in the stock market? How about a bad investment in a mining stock? That'd be just about everybody. So this is a song that was published in the Hawaii Avalanche in January 1876. Guy signed his name as Payrock. That's pretty good. If you can find Payrock, that's a good thing in a gold mine, right? So this song mentions a whole bunch of actual mines up in the Waihes, up at Silver City, War Eagle Mountain. And I'll just let the song tell the story here. It's called the Hawaii Miners' Lament. Well, goodbye, old Hawaii's, I'm going to the States. Your mining populations have got to emigrate, 'cause the bulls and bears of Frisco, their pockets full of dimes, have played the very devil with all our leading mines. Well, rip, rap, flip, flap, I wish I had my money back. I'd deal no more in mining stocks, I'd be wiser man. You can sing along here. Well, rip, rap, flip, flap, I wish I had my money back. I'd deal no more in mining stock, be a wiser man. Now there's the Ida Elmore, the poor man and the pauper, with the testaments, I'm dead broke and I haven't got a quarter. Kept sinking and a-drifting around the local levels, till I'm dead broke, my coat's in soak, and I'm going to the devil. Oh, rip, rap, flip, flap, wish I had my money back. I'd deal no more in mining stock. I'd be a wiser man. Some time ago, mahogany was thought to be a buy. A few hundred I invested, again my luck to try. Kept a watching and a waiting, expecting a big rise, when a $2 assessment opened up my eyes. Oh, rip, rap, flip, flap, I wish I had my money back. I'd deal no more in mining stocks. I'd be a wiser man. Now there's the Orofino, the pride of all the camp. But when she failed to come on time, it caused the boys to tramp with their blankets on their shoulders, morning until noon, when the super went to Frisco and he flopped the big Muldoon. Oh, rip, rap, flip, flap, I wish I had my money back. I'd deal no more in mining stock, be a wiser man. So there's even corporate greed and corruption in that song, huh? I think that's what he's trying to say. The super flopped the big Muldoon in San Francisco. Oh, once I had the money, plenty enough to buy a farm, but to take a deal in mining stocks I thought would do no harm. 5,000 I invested in golden chariot stock, when all at once she took a flop. They couldn't find pay rock. Oh, flip, flap, flip, flap, I wish I had my money back. I'd deal no more in mining stocks. I'd be a wiser man. Well, that's about right, isn't it? Okay. It turns out there were two poet prospectors in Idaho. And one of them was a guy named Hannibal F. Seven Devils Johnson. This guy was amazing. I don't know whether the mountain range was named after him or it was the other way around, but he did it all. He peddled herbal medicine out of a wheelbarrow that he pushed all over the place. He was a poet. He wrote essays. He was a fiddle player. And he was the first state senator in Idaho from this county on the populist/socialist ticket in 1892. Isn't that interesting? At any rate, he was at a mining camp way up in the Seven Devils, out on a campfire in the evening, and apparently everybody started telling stories and poems and all that, and one of the people there was the owner and the editor of the Weiser Signal at the time, 1895. And he said, well, why don't we just publish those poems and see what happens? And voila, a 135-page book of poems and essays and songs came out of that. And I'm going to recite one of these poems. It's called The Seven Devils Miners' Bear Fight. And at that time, there were grizzly bears in those mountains. This could have been autobiographical. I don't know. It goes like this. One morning in the month of August, early while the air was cool, high up in the Devil Mountains wandered I in search of gold. Strolling onward, much delighted with the rugged grandeur there, oh, in sudden horror, I sighted up the hill a grizzly bear. Oh, I had the queerest feeling. I must have turned a little pale when I saw the grizzly sitting on his stubby tail. I knew he saw the motion that was quickly made by me when I, with sudden notion, dodged behind a giant tree. Well, he my hiding place detected, and on he came with giant stride, with his battle flag erected, thundering down the mountainside. Oh, and I saw his mouth wide open and his fiery eyeballs glare. I thought the Seven Devil Miners' time had come to say his prayers. Then I began to scratch the gravel, and then race with danger rife, as round and around the tree we traveled. He for grub, and I for life. While the war was thus progressing, every nerve was brought to play, and still my mind was busy guessing which would win the day. When the bear would seem to leave me, dismal thoughts filled my mind, because I knew when the space was widening, it was shortening up behind. Then with superhuman effort, on I bounded in the charge, and with despair and desperation fell upon the bear's rear guard. Then he surprised and I delighted. Bruin thought to change his race. Demoralized and much affrighted, he lowered his flag and left the place. Out of breath and much exhausted on the battlefield I lay, satisfied to be the victor, happy thus to win the day. So slowly I drew myself together on this bloodless battle plain, gathered up my fragments and wandered back to camp again. And though I'm fond of meat for dinner, I wish it understood that for the 7 devil miner, grizzly bear meat is no good. Seven Devils Johnson. Wouldn't you love to be around a campfire with that guy? Oh, the stories. We're going to go down to Caldwell, Idaho now. And this song is a little bit out of my, say, pre-1924 time frame, but it is so good, I've got to do it. Idaho had its own "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" story, a real thing. There were 3 guys involved. They were all kind of petty criminals that could not stay out of jail, always in jail, in and out of jail. The ringleader, this guy's name was Harry Sylvie. What was it, number 5838, something like that. This song is autobiographical about a time that he and his girlfriend Bessie said he was working for the governor. He was working on the, road gang or something, They passed some bad checks. And then the whole thing came unraveled. And he being a really good guy, said, well, I did it, so they turned Bessie loose. What a good guy, right? Well, it turns out that Bessie had her own thing going, as you'll see in this song here. So that's another sing-along. And you sing along, while away from whiskey. There we go, it's deep. While away from whiskey, while women and beer. Got it? While away from whiskey, while women and beer. Well, card sharks and forgers and racketeers, come on and sit down over here. I'll tell you my story of heartaches and woes, while away from whiskey, while women and beer. While away from whiskey, while women and beer. For the governor I was working down Nampa way, living with my Bessie dear. In sin we passed a few checks they said was no good. I'm away from whiskey while women and beer. I'm away from whiskey while women and beer. Well, the DA said, Cisco, if you take the rap, I'll see that you just get a year. So they turned Bessie loose, sent me up the river, far away from whiskey while women and beer. Far away from whiskey while women and beer. Looking pretty good so far, right? Well, my lawyer, he said, it looks like a year, then you'll be right out of here. But the judge, he said, 2.5 to 15. Away from whiskey while women and beer. Away from whiskey while women and beer. There wouldn't be any wild women in here, would there? Then the warden, he says, you used too many names. Which one will you use while you're here? 6838 is the name I'll be using while away from whiskey, while women and beer. While away from whiskey, while women and beer. Well, I wonder how Bessie, my love, is tonight. I wonder, does she shed a tear? She's thinking of me, I'm doing her time, far away from whiskey, while women and beer. While away from whiskey, women and beer. I wonder, dear Bessie, where are you tonight? You were the love of my life. Well, I just learned that Bessie is another man's wife. While away from whiskey, while women and beer. Well, you heard my story so sad, about Bessie and me coming up here. Oh, I just learned that Bessie, oh, she's another man's wife. While away from whiskey, while women and beer. While away from whiskey, while women and beer. All right. When I'm not doing this, I play banjo for the Chicken Dinner Road Band. And a few years ago, Dennis Stokes, the band guru, wrote this great tribute to Boise. And we recorded it. It's a very nice song, you know. And I started thinking about that. I said, you know what? Boise is Idaho as much as Miami is Florida, or Reno is Nevada. And so he's talking about all these great things to do in the big city. I mean, no red-blooded Idaho guy is going to identify with that. So I wrote a reprise to it. And Dennis, do you want to fill in on it? You got your D harp there? You'll get the melody right away. It's totally unrehearsed here, but Key of Dog, yeah. So I live at Pickles Butte. Anybody know where Pickles Butte is? Yeah, right. I'm out there by the dump almost, the county dump. Actually, it's a great place to live. And, I hardly ever have to go to Lowe's or Home Depot. I can just pick up stuff along the road, you know, that falls off the... And, I mean, this song, I decided to write a tribute to Pickles Butte because all the great things you can do there, a red-blooded Idaho guy, in a single day, you know. I've seen the Louvre and Perry. I walked upon Red Square. I hung my hat in Aussie land and trod a glacier. Had fish and chips in London. I seen Old Faithful below. Rafted through Grand Canyon and skied New Mexico. But nothing beats my little ranch near Chicken Dinner Road. Yet Pickles Butte is heaven if you're from Idaho. Well, the Butte is just a little bump between Nampa and the Snake. It's awesome what a man can do there in a single day. There's early morning fishing for smallies on the Snake. When the day is warmer, wakeboarding on the lake. Nothing beats my little ranch near Chicken Dinner Road. Yet Pickles Butte is heaven if you're from Idaho. Have you ever been to the Two-Holer Saloon in Melba? You have. It's one of my favorite places to take out-of-town people, out-of-state people. It's an awesome saloon. There's burgers at Two-Holer and Sawtooth Chardonnay. A trip out to the county dump, a long nap in the shade. There's practice at the shooting range, then hunts and dove and quail. Dinner at Brick 29, night biking on the trail. But nothing beats my little ranch near Chicken Dinner Road. Yeah, pickles, beauty's heaven if you're from Idaho. Nothing beats my little ranch near Chicken Dinner Road. Yeah, pickles, beauty's heaven if you're from Idaho. Okay, this is a song I'm going to dedicate to Sandy Cooper, who's off on another gig here tonight. First version of this song I wrote, boy, around, I don't know, more than 15 years ago, when my home state of West Virginia made it legal to take roadkill home. It took Idaho about 10 years to catch up to West Virginia. And it took California another 5 years to catch up to Idaho. I mean, so the funny thing about the Idaho statute is you've got 48 hours to get your permit. Now you just think about that a little bit. Oh, Dennis, you can play on this if you want. Yeah. So I actually wrote it in honor of my Aunt Rosie, one of my favorite aunts. She had a whole bunch of boys about my age, and it was a great... there was always plenty of food on the table. You didn't dare ask too many questions. So you might actually get an answer. This is in key of G. It's called Roadkill Cuisine. So this is for Sandy. Well, Idaho changed the law not too long ago. Once again, it's legal to take meat off the road. You don't need no money. You don't drive too far. When you shop Route 95 for a meal weighed with the tar. Now, if you like a balanced diet, this is the way to go. There's a brand new entree every day out there on the road. You may find a gourmet meal over that next hill. For value on the money, boys, you just can't beat roadkill. Well, most folks turn their nose up till they give her a try. Once they take one little bite, you'll know the reason why. We always ask for seconds, we don't ask what we ate. How we love roadkill cuisine here in the old gem state. Now up in Band Creeks, Idaho, there's a roadkill cook. Her recipes are unique, they ain't in any book. You can find Sandy Cooper any time of day, cooking at the place we call the Pick 'em Up Cafe. Now when she gets real hungry, she motors down the track. She just picks up what she wants and she throws them in the back. She don't need to mess around for stuff for hunting or fishing. With some gas in her pickup truck, tread on her Michelins. Most folks turn their nose up till they give her a try. Once they take one little bite, you'll know the reason why. We always ask for seconds, don't ask what we ate. Oh, how we love roadkill cuisine here in the old gem state. Well, sometimes she finds patties already tenderized. If the meat's been out a day or two, then jerky is the prize. She can count on magpie, Lord knows what else she'll get. Rock chuck, ground squirrel, or occasional household pet. Bum, 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 bum. She serves pounded coyote with a Prestone glaze, rabbit nuggets on a stick, badger ribs flambe, rattlesnake spam, crispy roasted toad. Grillin' has new meaning when it's done out on the road. Most folks turn their nose up till they give her a try. Once they take one little bite, they'll know the reason why. We always ask for second, they don't ask what we ate. How we love roadkill cuisine here in the old Dream State. Yeah, we always ask for seconds, don't ask what we ate. How we love roadkill cuisine here in the old Shem Date. Am I done?
I don't know. What time is it? No, you're not done yet. You're not getting off that easy.
All right, let's see.
You got another?
Yeah, I've got one here that's from North Idaho. It's actually appeared in a piece of sheet music. It was an advertising shield for the Northern Pacific Railroad. And that train was famous for its dining car, and in particular, its great big baked potato. And let's see if I can find it here. Go, baby. So you get to sing along on this. You'll know when to come in. It'll happen organically here. What key are you in here, Eller? I'm going to do it in G here. Okay. It's called The Root of the Great Big Baked Potato, and it only cost 10 cents. That's all you have to remember to sing along on this song, okay? In going to Seattle, I took a North Coast train. Because my time was limited, I wished some time to gain. I crossed the Great Columbia, where roses were in bud. I wandered into dinner, and then there met Dr. Spud. Was lying on a platter, something just immense, served with spoon and butter, and it only cost 10 cents. Where am I doing here? I got A written here. We're going to do overs on this one. In going to Seattle, I took a North Coast train. Because my time was limited, I wished some time to gain. I crossed the Great Columbia, where roses were in bud. I wandered in the dinner, and there met Dr. Spud. Was lying on a platter, something just immense, served with spoon and butter, and it only cost 10 cents. Split right up the center, what's better filled with butter. It was sweet and hot and meaty. Was it good? Well, I should stutter. Oh, you great big baked potato, you are Irish through and through. You may talk of your onions, your garlic and stew. Just try that potato, it's good for you. If you want a sure thing hunch for your breakfast, dinner, or lunch, on the NPR or on the dining car, get a great big baked potato. I looked at it and I smelled of it, sweet as any rose. I thought if I consumed it, I must loosen up my clothes. That great big baked potato soon lodged in my insides, of being happy on the NP road to ride. But I've been busy thinking and wondering ever since how a great big baked potato could be served for only 10 cents. Of course I ordered other things, on them I did dine, but I can't forget that lovely Spud. It was oh so very fine. Oh, you great big baked potato, You are Irish through and through. You may brag of your garlic, your onions, or stew. Just try that potato, it's good for you. If you want a sure thing hunch for your breakfast, dinner, or lunch, on the NPR or on the dining car, try a great big baked potato. That NP Roacher does things to make their service best. I always try to ride with them when traveling in the West. Their milk and cream and vegetables, always fresh and nice. Of course, their stuff is raised upon a farm in paradise. And here's to the MP Railway, Dr. Spud, and the man who makes you travel happily and does whate'er he can to serve you well and promptly, regardless of expense. A great big baked potato that only costs, you can do better than that, that only costs 10 cents. Oh, you great big baked potato, you are Irish through and through. You may talk of your onions, your garlic and stew. Just try that potato, it's good for you. If you want a sure thing hunch for your breakfast, dinner, or lunch, on the NPR or in the dining car, get a great big baked potato. Thank you very much.